We have this group of people who have been exposed to microplastics, and we have this group of people who have not been exposed to microplastics, and we're going to see the difference. They can't find a control group.
This is You Know Too Much.
It's the bite-sized show. Yes, that'll be funny later at the end of this episode, that teaches you everything you never knew you needed to know about the one very specific thing. I'm Kamala Buzik Kim.
I'm Eva McCluskey, and this is You Know Too Much. Our guest today is Lindsay McCormick. Lindsay, what do you know too much about?
I know too much about microplastics and the impact that they have on our health.
Why? Why do you know too much about this?
How did we get here?
So the first thing I want to say is that this started as an obsession with just sustainability on the planet. I was a surf instructor, seeing more and more plastic washing up on my board. And so I started wanting to solve that problem. And then it kind of just spun into, well, wait, if it's happening to the ocean, it's happening to our bodies because we all live here. And we're now seeing for the first time more and more studies come out that are actually showing what the impacts are. And the important thing is that I think this can get very overwhelming very fast, but it's a message of hope. And that's what I want to kind of portray, like talking to you as well, because like once you know better, you can do better. And these studies are just coming out and people are getting very overwhelmed. Oh my gosh, there's plastic in everything. There's microplastics in everything. What am I supposed to do? Yeah. There's actually a lot that you can do. And it's just new information. But once we kind of start seeing like why it happens, what it's doing, and then what we can do about it, it's kind of problem solution, something that you can totally have a substantial impact in your own life.
Yeah, absolutely. But it isn't everything. And what was like when the plastic was washing up onto your surfboard, was it like plastic bags? Was it these tiny little dots? Like what was it that caught your attention and really started to like kind of the gears were moving?
It was everything. So it was in the ocean, it was Malibu, and that's very clean up there. But even in the 4 years that I was working there, I would work there every summer. It was more and more plastic each time. And I taught the 4 to 7 year olds, which are absolutely adorable, by the way. And we would just be out there and we'd see little bits of plastic. So I would teach them, I'd be like, grab it, stick it in your wetty, like stick it in your wetsuit, and we'll bring it to shore and we'll throw it out. So that was the beginning of kind of looking into it. It has to go somewhere, and it doesn't just stay in landfills.
Right. But it also, like you're saying, it sort of also breaks down. How long does it take to break down and then become these microplastics that we're hearing about?
And that's the journey from plastic to microplastics. So we can think of like a soda bottle, and that's like a plastic. But what happens is when that ends up in the ocean, it's going to get over the salt water and the hot air and the sun. It will start breaking down, and plastic doesn't go away. It just breaks down. Mm-hmm. And so it becomes these little tiny microscopic pieces of plastic, which is what a microplastic is. And so in some ways it's sometimes so small you can't see it. And then sometimes you can see it. It's like little tiny pieces that you could see on the beach, like the little red piece. You could see that when you look at the sand. They both need microplastics, but it can either be something that's so small you can't see without a microscope, or something that is just like a little tiny pieces of confetti in your hand. And those come from, bigger pieces of plastic breaking down over time.
And is their size the problem?
So the size is one of the reasons. That's how it starts infiltrating. So because it's so small, and there's so many different ways that it can get into our food systems, our water systems, our air. So when you look at food system, when you have something that's a microplastic, it can get in by a fish eating, and then we eat the fish, right? So you can kind of start from like that toward sort of like tiered thing. It can also actually be found in our water. So there's tiny microplastics in our water. So it's on our produce. When we're eating it, we're drinking it. And when you have clothes that are made out of plastic, whether it's polyester or fleece, any sort of plastic material, that can actually end up in the air. So there's like the 3 different types of, like there's many different types of exposures, but the 3 main ones that I like to talk about are, food, water, and air. And what we can do to kind of get rid of those, get rid of them in our daily exposures. And so that's when you kind of look at microplastics, it starts as, that soda bottle we talked about. And then over time, its journey is then to break into tiny little microplastics that can end up in any of those places.
Yeah. Yes. My question too is, I think there's almost like this, the vagueness of it where you're like, yes, it is in everything, and like all the water, air, food. And so then it just also becomes like, why are we not getting more sick from it right now? Or are we going, or is that just, it takes time for that to have happened for us to all really recognize that it's happening? Because I feel like some people are like, well, soda is bad for you too, but I just don't drink it. Or soda is bad for me, or I haven't noticed that it's really bad for me yet. How do you kind of counter that conversation?
That's a great question. Plastics didn't really start becoming used the way that they're so ubiquitous until like the 50s, which is not even 100 years ago. And when we start talking about the studies that are showing the impact of microplastics on our bodies, it can take anywhere from 14 to 20 years that these scientists have been trying to figure out, like, hey, there's 15 years ago, hey, there's like this new stuff that's kind of getting in people. Like, let's start seeing the impact. Mm-hmm. And then it took 15 years to get the data of like, oh, let's see the impact on children's IQ. Let's see the impact. Those studies are just now coming out because it's still such a new problem. But we actually don't even know. It's still like the infancy of that. And so I think the easiest way to, like, when I kind of explain to my friends of why are microplastics bad, and what microplastics have been linked to is chronic inflammation. And the way that it is that it's so small, they get into your body and your body doesn't know what to do with it, right? Because this is not like this is like a new thing for us. And so it kind of just keeps sending this alarm being like, hey, there's something in here that I don't like. And that alarm is, it's your immune system. It's doing a really good job. But that's what causes inflammation, which is chronic inflammation, which is kind of the easiest way to understand, like, one solid thing where it's like, oh yeah, there's studies that have shown this, like, this is what it's doing in human systems. Like, this is like a very widely acceptable or like accepted understanding. Everything is so hard because everything's contaminated with plastic. So they're even finding, these plastic, like these experiments where we're trying to show how much plastics are in things, they were contaminated by the lab, people with plastic because there's plastic everywhere, and so they're starting to be like, how do we actually get clean data when we are dealing with something that is in everything, everywhere? And so, like, one of the things that's a known for sure is that they can't find a control group. So there's no way, like, something that's really important for science is, we have this group of people who have been exposed to microplastics and we have this group of people who have not been exposed to microplastics. And we're going to see the difference in, health, say XYZ. They don't have a control anymore. And so I think these are why this is a very slippery science. So, and not to get too into the weeds, but this is, I actually,
into the weeds.
Let's go into it.
Actually, get into the weeds. Come on.
Okay.
We're here for
that. There is so much money behind making sure plastic continually just flows into our supply chains. The TLDR is that they are everywhere. We can't avoid them 100%, but there are things you can do to avoid the big ones.
Like
and
what?
that's
what can we do?
First thing I tell every single person, just get a water filtration system. No matter where you live, no matter how great your water is, just getting a reverse osmosis system. It removes microplastics, it removes PFAS. Your drinking water is most likely your number one exposure to microplastics.
Okay. So reverse osmosis is a big, easy step to fight back against this overwhelm. What are some other easy-ish, light lift things that folks can do to kind of fight back? It feels overwhelming, but there's got to be a path.
And what I'll say too is that it is overwhelming, and I think it can feel very overwhelming. I actually just did like those microplastic blood tests. Whether or not these things are incredibly accurate, I have no idea. But what I decided to do is I bought 3 different companies and I sent them all. It turns out they're all the same test, which I didn't know. They're just like white labeling. The biggest thing, and this is absurd, and I finally did this kind of recently. I don't order to-go food anymore in the plastic containers, which I was a Postmates. Like, that's like not like that. Like when I was like working all the time, I had no time to make food. But the plastic plus heat in those containers, when they are sitting in the car being driven to your house, like, not only, it's just like it's a very bad situation. It's one of the bigger exposures to plastics in food.
So you'll take it to go, but you're not going to take it delivered.
Right. Well, no, I wouldn't even put it in those black containers.
Yeah.
I will not put and if I'm going to and I used to be someone who brings my own to-go thing to a restaurant. I don't really do that anymore. But
Okay.
I'm not gonna take my food to go. I'm
But you
gonna
have done
eat it.
it.
Huh?
You have brought containers.
Oh, I used
Let
to
me
all the
take it.
time.
Yeah.
Yes, I used to all the time. I would bring this like little thing, and I was like, no, I can't.
I love
I gotta
this.
stop being that girl.
I
I
love
do.
that though. Please be that girl.
Yes, like I support you doing that. No, for me, I was like, I'm gonna order an appropriate amount and I'm gonna eat it and that's gonna be done. Think of the things that you're using every single day. The bedding is a big one. Like next time you buy sheets or pillows, change them for something that's natural and not like the polyfill.
How many kinds of plastic are there?
I know, way too many. So the problem is that it's a byproduct from the petroleum industry, and it is so cheap to make. They could literally make plastic free. They can bring the cost to go as low as possible.
How do you, as a business owner, navigate that?
So for us, we use a glass jar and we use an aluminum lid, and then there's a bioplastic, which I love bioplastics. I think they're amazing, and I can get into that.
What
in
are
a minute.
bioplastics?
I know.
That's not in plastic?
Okay, we get the point. So when we talk about plastic, we're talking colloquially about petroleum-based plastic. So
Sure.
It is made from crude oil into plastic, and the reason that's a problem is because it breaks down, and now you have little tiny pieces of petroleum all in our bodies. That's a problem, right?
Gross.
When it's a bioplastic, and it's a true bioplastic, not mixed with petroleum-based plastic, which is why bioplastics get a bad name. A lot of them are mixed with petroleum-based plastic, but there are true bioplastics. They are made from like a corn or actually most of them are made from corn, like a sugar cane. That they're not going to cause the same issues as petroleum does. Now that has gone down a lot in price. Like it's still not as cheap as plastic, but it's like pretty good.
That's good.
Give us the end speech. Convert us, Lindsay. Convert us.
Okay. So I just want to walk through like your morning routine very quickly. And then we're going to talk about what you can do to change it out that makes it super easy. So you wake up and most likely the mattress you're sleeping on is made of plastic. Your sheets are probably made of some sort of plastic blend. Your pillow is probably some sort of plastic blend. And you're going to get up and you're going to put your feet on your rug, which is, if it's synthetic, also is made of some sort of plastic. And you're going to walk into your bathroom and you're going to squeeze toothpaste from a plastic toothpaste tube on your plastic toothbrush. And you're going to brush your teeth. And then you're going to, with water that's probably contaminated with plastic. And then you're going to go downstairs and you're going to make coffee out of a coffee maker that's made with plastic tubing. And it's a plastic, what is it called? Coffee filter. So right there, you've now been like, boom, 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 exposure. But I would say the bedding, that's going to be something that you cannot, this is not something to, do that on a different day. But it's so easy to switch out your coffee, like use a French press instead of a coffee machine. And then you've eliminated that entire plastic exposure.
Okay.
Use something like ours, obviously a toothpaste tablet, bamboo toothbrush. Get a water filter for your house. And so it's one of these things where if you can just picture your day and then look at a few different things that you can make over time, it's not about doing it right now. It's about doing the small changes over time. If you try to go all in, it will not get done. It will be overwhelming and exhausting and you'll feel terrible. But if you just look for the one thing you can swap out a week and you can get like your cutting board, just throw out your plastic cutting board. Just look for little things and it is so empowering. And I think what's also very cool is a lot of the brands who are providing the alternatives are small brands like mine, right? Who are made by people who care and that they want to like make a better world. So you're like not only doing better for your body, but you're also doing better for the planet, but you're supporting a brand that's trying to do the right thing. And so I would say kind of like, going through your day and just trying to decide the plastic exposures you want to get out for your life and your kid's life and your partner's life. That's like the easiest kind of starting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
Preach. All right. I love it. I use tablet toothpaste. I love it. I'm excited to tell folks about it. I'm also constantly looking for shit that's in glass. I'm so tired of every product being in plastic or some tube of plastic or even wrapped in plastic. I'm so done with it. And it is so hard to find companies that are not doing that. So with that, Lindsay, please tell us where we can find you.
Yeah, so we're online, trybite.com. It's trybite.com. And I love that you use toothpaste tablets, but what did you think after you were using them for a little while?
I always cheat and use 2 tablets because a lot of people miss that like foam or that like liquidness that tablets don't always have. So I always just cheat and use 2 of the tablets.
Well, I use 2 as
Baby
well.
steps.
So
Yeah.
I get it.
Gorgeous, beautiful.
Love it.
Lindsay, thank you so much for coming on board here. Appreciate you. So I did come in vaguely anxious about this episode, and now I know too much about microplastics, but I'm feeling much calmer about it. I'm feeling like I'm on a good path. So thank you for this, Lindsay. Eva, over to you.
Thank you, Lindsay. And friends out there listening, please subscribe, leave us a glowing 5-star review, share this episode with someone who'd love it, and check out more at youknowtoomuch.media.
Follow us wherever you get your podcasts and keep the obsession going. Thanks, Lindsay.
Thanks so much.
Lindsay.
Thank
Bye,
you.
y'all.